Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Always excited to explore these fascinating corners of wisdom.
Well, today we're going way back, talking ancient Tamil Nadu in India.
Oh, intriguing. What treasures are we unearthing from there?
We've got an excerpt for you referencing the Nanakaral.
Okay, and for my memory, remind me, what is the Natna Kirtle?
It's this collection of poetic verses by Avayar.
Avayar, right? The revered poet.
Exactly. Specifically, we're looking at a chapter called Turiya Darizanam,
Which translates to
Vision of Thuriya. And it's all about, get this, syncing with the moon's rhythms
syncing with the moon. That's fascinating. To achieve what, though?
to attain a heightened state of consciousness.
Now, that's a concept I think we can all get behind.
Right. Who wouldn't want a little more heightened consciousness these days?
Especially if the moon's the key. It seems pretty simple.
You'd think, but it gets pretty deep.
Well, I'm all ears. Tell me more about Avayar and this Thuriya.
So Aviyar, she was a female poet, incredibly respected in ancient Tamil Nadu.
A woman of wisdom, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And her words in the Nanakirl, they're like a portal
A portal to what?
to a time when people, well, they lived in sync with nature.
A different pace of life back then. More in tune with the natural world.
Exactly. And Thuriya, that's the goal, the desired state.
Okay, paint me a picture. What does Thuriya look like?
Imagine being fully present, aware, but beyond our usual states.
You mean like waking, dreaming?
Even beyond deep sleep. Thuriya is pure consciousness, its connection to a deeper reality. And supposedly the moon can guide us there.
That's a powerful idea. The moon as a guide to this heightened consciousness. But how did ancient Tamils actually perceive the moon? Was it more than just a celestial body to them?
Oh, absolutely. You see, back then, the moon wasn't just something you saw in the sky, it was central to life.
Central how?
Think about it, farmers. They'd plant and harvest according to its cycles. Festivals, rituals, all scheduled around the moon's phases. It was a cosmic timekeeper, yeah, but so much more than that.
It sounds like it was interwoven with every aspect of their lives.
It really was. The moon, it represented this cyclical nature of life. Birth, death, rebirth, even human emotions.
Human emotions. How so?
Ever notice how our moods can be fluid, changing? Well, they saw that as a reflection of the waxing and waning of the moon.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. So
Yeah.
it sounds like syncing with the moon went beyond simply acknowledging its presence. How did they actually integrate this lunar wisdom into their daily lives?
That's the question, isn't it? And the Nanakirl gives us some clues.
Like what?
There's this one verse, it talks about the tides,
The tides, okay.
how their ebb and flow, they mirror the rhythms within us.
Interesting. So it's about recognizing that connection the way we ebb and flow like the tides.
Exactly. In another verse, it hints at aligning our actions with the lunar phases,
Give me an example.
like starting new ventures on a new moon.
Ah, new beginnings, fresh starts, aligning with that energy.
Exactly. Or times of introspection, letting go, that was linked to the waning moon.
It's like they saw the moon as a mirror, reflecting back these natural cycles we experience within ourselves.
It's amazing, isn't it? How this ancient wisdom, it speaks to something so fundamental about the human experience.
It really does. But let's be real, we live in a world now where the moon often feels, well, a little distant.
You think anyone's checking the lunar calendar before scheduling a meeting these days?
Probably not. We're glued to our screens, ruled by deadlines. The moon's often the last thing on our minds.
You know, it's funny you say that because as much as we love to explore these ancient practices,
Part of me wonders, can we really apply these ancient ideas to our modern lives?
it's a valid question. I mean, should we all start living by the lunar calendar? Is that practical?
Right. But maybe it's not about going back in time. Maybe it's about taking the essence of this wisdom and seeing how it resonates with us today.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, we know the moon influences the tides, right?
Basic science.
Right. And we're made mostly of water. So who's to say the moon doesn't have some kind of influence on us too? Maybe we've simply forgotten how to feel it.
I've heard people talk about feeling more energized during a full moon or more introspective during a new moon. Is there any truth to that?
It's hard to say for sure, but personally, I've experimented with meditating under a full moon. There's a different energy, hard to describe. You can almost feel a shift within yourself.
See, I think that's the key. It's not about following rigid rules. It's about finding small ways to reconnect.
Maybe that's all it takes. Just a little awareness, a little intention.
So instead of constantly rushing, Maybe we look up at the moon more often.
Let it remind us to slow down, to tune in.
To reconnect with those natural rhythms, just like Avaya wrote about all those centuries ago.
That's a practice I can get behind.
Me too.
Mm.
So, to our listeners, here's a thought. Tonight, when you get a moment, put down your phone, step outside, and just look up. Let the moon's quiet presence remind you of the timeless wisdom it holds, and see if you can feel a little of its rhythm within yourself.